What's up, everybody? Welcome to the View from Jamestown podcast edition. This is episode 35. This is the December 2019 View from Jamestown episode. We got a full house here this morning. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, buddy.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Sitting down with Robb, Roach, AJ Petrarca, Cory Mullins, and Javier Fernandez. Got the first 5 mic set up here today. We got a full house going on. It's nice to see everyone today.
Got the dream team in the house.
Yeah,
Dream team. plus Mullins. Dream team.
I'll
Mullins.
take that.
The TCC Young Guns, other than Mullins.
Pick on Mullins Day, apparently.
Yeah, no kidding.
How's everything going?
Yeah, it's going. It's December. We're coming up to the holiday season. Seems like a lot of shutdowns this year. That's really all I got. It's snow on the ground. Been out shoveling snow this morning, and we got a cold start to the winter. And yeah, I mean, November was brutal around here, and the storms are lining up from the Pacific to come across. So looks like it's gonna be a tough winter.
But it's New England, so we got about 5-6 inches out there, but it could be 65 and sunny on Christmas.
It's gonna all melt by the end of the day today,
Yeah.
probably. Thank God.
Yeah, a lot of plants are shutting down for in my region. A lot of plants are shutting down for the whole month. They usually do 2 weeks. And they're doing the full month of December, so they're extending the season. You know, they like their Christmas.
Yeah, and then it takes some more time down there.
Yeah, and then right after Christmas, they start partying for Easter.
Yep.
So, they got 4 months to party. They have to have Carnival.
We're doing it wrong here. Take a page out of your
You
book.
guys have it
This is
outside.
horrible.
Why are you here, Javi?
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, I like the snow, I guess.
And is that really just a factor of them wanting to take more time? Is it like weather related or old plants?
It's part of. I talked to some people. It's part of the economy.
Yeah.
They just extended the 2 weeks to the month. It's mainly Mexico. They said paint companies, automotive companies. They just part of the economy. You said it's so slow that might as well just take the full month. Just let the people go for Christmas early.
Yeah. Probably a lot of preventative maintenance and stuff they can do too,
Yeah.
and take advantage of the time.
Yeah.
I got news for you guys. As of today, we're done for the month, too. All right, sound good?
Shut it down.
Let's wrap it up.
Just kidding.
You better be careful. Javi's gonna take that seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's walking out the door already.
We are recording this, right?
But yeah, coming to the end of the year, full on in December, starting to see some kind of 2019 wrap up articles and news, kind of the overall economy, and starting to look ahead to 2020. A lot of nervousness still out there and kind of hesitation with what the economy is going to do in 2020. Kind of seeing results from Black Friday and kind of overall consumer spending. Seems like consumer spending is still high. The average consumer is positive, but still kind of that nervous aspect in terms of businesses and planning and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, the positive notes are that, unemployment is low, stock market's high, people are making money. Incomes haven't really grown, but people are working, so they've got some money, so spending is up. That's definitely a positive. So, should be a good Christmas season for the kids. Lots of presents under the tree.
And as it always ends up being, things seem like they're going pretty well for a little while, and then something happens like an unfortunate explosion, as we saw with the TPC petrochemical plant down in Texas. An explosion last week. The site produces 20% of the U.S. butadiene here, so it's starting to see some fallout and results from that, happening and kind of changing things up in the market when it seemed like kind of things were status quo for a little while.
Yeah, fortunately, I don't think anyone died in
Nope.
the explosion, which is the really positive thing about this. And butadiene is not something that's traded globally. It's more of a local pipeline type product. So it's a big deal. MTBE is being affected. We don't put MTBE any longer in our gasoline, but there's certainly export markets, China, Latin America, Africa, et cetera. So Huntsman, I heard yesterday it shut down because they couldn't obviously get the feed. So it's starting to trickle down into other things, and we should see some effects of that for sure. 20% is a lot.
And so I think something to keep in mind on a wide scale, no matter how well it seems like things are going, something can happen and all of a sudden turns the market, upside down in a way.
Right. I think that, and this is contract season. I think that, the buyers have been very, pushy this year. They've been very demanding, and they seem to forget real quickly what it was like a couple of years ago. And so, yeah, things can change very rapidly, and people have to keep that in the back of their mind when they're really hammering on people like us and suppliers for the lowest price they can get.
And we're starting to see news of the Oxea economic force majeure that we're seeing out of Europe as well. Another interesting trend or something going on with.
Yeah, I don't know if that technically was economic force majeure. If it was, they're in big trouble, you know, based on their contracts. Or maybe they have contracts where if the price is too low globally, they can do that. But
probably they have a clause or something in their in the fine print, you know. You have to always read the fine print.
Yeah. The general terms and conditions. You know? We've seen some brutal general terms and conditions. But, yeah, I mean, wow, you know, the market isn't really good for us, so we're just going to turn the switch off. That's new school.
Yeah, whether it's in their contracts or not. I mean, it's a blockbuster, you know, announcement.
Yeah, I would say so. I'd say it's very interesting.
So something I'm sure we'll see the fallout from as well over the next couple months, and maybe, you know, who knows, other producing partners could follow suit and, you know, announce something similar with the industry.
I mean, when OXO prices are this low, they're certainly not making any money.
Right.
It's a brutal scene. So, and the funny part is, there's all these announcements of new OXO ventures that are coming up. I mean, we're already drowning in OXOs. So, I guess that's the way it's the ebb and flow of our industry. It's always too tight or too long.
Yeah. And on a global trade front, it seems like we're now monitoring a bunch of different situations. Most recently, the U.S. Announcing potential 100% tariffs on imports from France, cheese, champagne, things like that.
Oh, my God.
So
I love my cheese.
Yeah, my Gucci bags or whatever. I mean, it's a tit for tat. It's another escalation of the trade war, which is not good for anyone. So it was based on a internet tax, I believe, and
French tax on tech companies.
Companies, okay. So there's a reason behind it, I guess, but you know, it's a difficult thing to see an already troublesome trade war escalating.
Yep. And so that's on the European front. We're seeing tariffs with Brazil and Argentina, which I'm sure Javi can speak to a little more, claiming that they devalued currencies, and just another front for the trade war.
The currencies are hitting the lowest point, so they're affecting the economy. You know, we're heavily dependent on the U.S. dollar, as most countries, so that's very affecting the day-to-day, you know, of everyone.
And then, of course, the China situation we've been talking about and monitoring for what seems like a very long time now. There is a deadline of December 15th for a potential increase. See, if you Google it, I searched it this morning, there's articles that say, oh, yeah, they're going to go away. And there's articles that saying, oh, yeah, it's going to double. It's like, you know.
Nobody knows.
Who knows?
Nobody knows. Roll the dice, throw a dart. Yeah.
And when you're a company, you know, us and other companies in the U.S. trying to plan ahead, it's almost impossible.
Challenge.
As we said from the beginning, a long-term problem.
Yep.
That's what this is.
So what are they saying? It's going to go away? What are the two options?
There's reports on both sides. So I think December 15th, it's either tariffs are going to increase or go into effect on a different list of products. So they're trying to reach a deal before that deadline. Mm-hmm. So some are saying they could extend it. Some are saying it could go away. Others are saying it's kind of stalled and that the anticipated tariffs could double or be added on something else. So I think we're kind of not going to know until something's actually signed on paper. There's all these meetings and articles and things coming out. Nobody knows.
I don't see anything like, you know, indicating that it would go away at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I haven't seen any kind of resolution on any of the talking points or anything. But I don't know.
And also, we heard some other companies, some are friends / competitors, being hit retroactively on some tariffs.
Yeah. Yep. So we're paying very close attention to HTS codes and making sure we're, you know, bringing things in by the book, because people are getting caught, even unintentionally, you know, clearing stuff under the wrong HTS code, and, you know, so just
not TCC, by the way. No. It was not us. We've heard of this. We have very high standards, and you would never, you know, but it was a mistake on their part, the people that we're not going to mention, but it is interesting, you know. We're talking several $100,000 bills.
Oh my gosh.
I'm doing that for years, and I think that it wasn't any wrongdoing. I think they were doing it unintentionally, as AJ mentioned.
Well, on that product, we knew two people that didn't know each other that were clearing material under that same HTS code, and then it was determined that HTS code didn't match the tariff or duty package.
The technicality. It was a technicality, and then they say like it's retroactive,
Right.
and then boom, you get hit.
Plus interest, probably.
Yeah, I'm sure.
At 14% per annum.
And does that go all the way
It's like credit card
to the
interest.
buyer, to the end user? Would that? How does
No,
it,
you
No.
can,
The
well, how
import-
can you call up your end user and say, that price I was selling you at, now you got to pay me double it retroactively?
No, it's just
you're not gonna get that
the importer of record.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's who's-
it's the
okay.
importer's responsibility.
importer
to have
responsibility.
The correct HTS
like,
code.
that makes
and,
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah,
Wow.
which is a risk, right?
Yeah.
It's on you as the importer.
That's right.
And I think historically, duties and tariffs were kind of the same for a long time. Maybe a tariff would come into effect here or there, but now it's with stuff changing so often. I mean, it's more important than ever to keep a close eye on your HTS codes and what's tariffed and what's not, and understand how it's going to affect costs on different things.
Yeah, you have to have someone dedicated to that
Yeah.
role, right? I mean,
Oh, we
you
have,
gotta-
6 people probably
Right.
dedicated to that role. I mean, it's
Yep.
it's that important, and
Sure.
the constant training and that knowledge base constantly expanding. I
Right.
mean, it's just amazing when we go through these Fortune 500 companies that we do business with, and they need us to clear things because they don't have the knowledge to do it themselves, or the people. So it's a nice value add that we have.
Sure.
And we do have our own EH&S and legal department that analyzes this constantly. So
Yep.
we don't want to be caught with a retroactive tariff or duty. So,
Right.
but that is an interesting point, because that did happen just this week.
Wow.
So something to definitely keep an eye on. I know each month it seems like we're talking about the tariffs and hope things are going to clear up. I don't think it's going to clear up by our next episode, but we'll certainly keep an eye on it and keep putting info out as we hear of it, and how it's going to impact us as a company and our customers and kind of the broader chemical industry to try to put the best info out there and keep everyone as informed as possible. Price updates and trends coming into December. Seems like stuff's pretty flat, maybe a little bit down. Propylene came down a little bit. Seems like crude oil, natural gas, all pretty flat for December. You guys kind of seeing the same thing?
Other than the stock market, which had a good run of it there, which it typically does, you can almost bet that things like retail, Apple will come up towards Christmas, and
Yep.
there's sort of that, that retail excitement, and certainly the tax plan that's benefiting these companies. So that had a good run of it. Just yesterday, it came off like 300-400 points, but that's just 1.5%. It's not a lot. So pretty interesting. That's really the only thing that we see having a good go of it right now, and to go from, I think it was over 27, almost 28,000 for a while there. So,
Yep.
And we're back down near 27 now, and at 27 and a half,
27.6,
something like that. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely the only thing that's, you talk about everything else, natural gas, oil, propylene, benzene, all range bound to what we've been seeing the last few months.
Yep. Yeah, no drastic spikes or changes one way or the other. Seems like stuff's kind of status quo coming to the end of the year. You guys concur?
Concur.
Yeah,
I
Completely.
concur, Ben. I didn't know you were looking for concurrence. But
concurrence. Yeah, we concur.
Just making sure. Just making sure.
It's not very interesting, just like the global economy. So,
But not very interesting can be a good thing every now and then. Nice to maybe be a little flat for a month or so.
sure. Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, it's consumers know where things will be for the time being, I guess, based on the last few months.
Yep. Featured products, new products in the TCC. We're happy to have our methanol product manager sitting here with us.
Thank you.
Obviously, methanol season and the season for some of those other cold weather products.
Sure.
How's the overall market looking?
Globally, it's as Rob was talking about, it's bearish. I mean, it's supplies are strong everywhere. Availability's good. The one thing kind of saving China at the moment, Javi's favorite topic is methanol to olefins. But they're running at 90% rates. They've got another MTO plant that had been off. A coal to olefins plant that had been offline, not consuming methanol, selling the methanol into the merchant market. They'll be turning back on. So MTO's kind of keeping China from prices from dropping further. I mean, I think it's at the low point. I don't. It's not going to move the needle. I mean, I think globally, just supply is strong. You've got the new Iranian plant that would be coming on. I think it's actually this month, if not the first part of next year, and that'll obviously bring some link. That product would be slated for China. Domestically, we're definitely in the season, the windshield wash season. We're seeing some of our inventory snug up a bit. It's what happens this time of year. I always wish for the worst weather for you guys up here. I'm in Texas, so I don't
We're
have
having
to,
it.
Yeah, and now I'm living through it for a week, so I guess I get some of that back. But no, we've definitely seen an uptick on the demand from the windshield wash side. I guess what helps balance some of that out is this time of year you have a lot of the other key derivatives coming offline, the formaldehydes and stuff, so that they'll go into their seasonal downturn. So that'll at least help us out. We're watching our inventories closely. We're making sure that we're managing so we don't run out. But no, it's good. I think one thing to keep an eye on, if as we see that the weather is across the country is bad. I mean, the one thing logistically, with rail car shipping, a lot of possibility on delays and stuff. That's one thing that we'll need to pay attention to, is make sure we've got cars where they need to be and trucks ready to that'll be interesting to see the impact there. Going back to the butadiene or the TPC deal. MTB with Huntsman, so that's a big demand for methanol. One of the key derivatives. So, that'll add some length. The U.S., we saw some spike in the market here over the last month or, 45 days or so, and that was attributed to some of the Gulf producers not operating. Those producers are back up and running now, so we'll see that pricing kind of flatten out, maybe down going into Q1. But, yeah, it's interesting. So,
Yeah, and a few other products that I think we've talked about in the past, but kind of coming up now again, too, resorcinol and dicyandiamide, two kind of separate products, but two ones that we like to highlight and mention our position on.
Yep, dicyandiamide is coming up on its busy season with its use in ag as a slow release nitrogen fertilizer additive. So we're placing orders now for or have been placing orders for the past month for January, February deliveries, because that's when a lot of the ag folks are formulating and doing their thing. So just keep in mind that there's a lead time, because everything's imported. We do stock a good amount here in the States, but the more heads up, the better.
Yep.
And then on resorcinol, that's not a new product for us, but it's one that we've been growing. We do have availability. That applications include plastisol, resins, tire applications, things like that. So let us know if you need either one.
Seems like that's a good one to grow. It seems like every time we find a new customer or have someone else buying it, it's like there's a new application for it. Seems like we've learned a lot about it over the last year or so.
Yeah,
It's been interesting.
Yep.
And of course, amongst all the plasticizers, which we have good availability on, DINP, one that we're currently focusing on and ready to move coming into the end of the year as well.
Yeah, we got probably the most broad portfolio of plasticizers in the industry. Linears, branch phthalates, terephtalates, benzoates. We're introducing some new plasticizers in 2020. Partnership with Perstorp is growing from DPHP into their product called Pevelin.
Yep.
So we're going to be introducing that to the market in 2020. But I just want to fall back on what Cory said. Logistics is a very interesting thought. Just want to remind folks that now is the time to order for the beginning of next year, and you're actually a little too late.
Yep.
If you're importing a product. To AJ's point, it's funny because every 3rd, 4th of January, I get phone calls from people panicked. I don't have material I need. You should have thought of it now, okay? Because even though, to Javi's point, a lot of Latin America is shutting down for December, well, they're going to need to really ramp up in January, and our customers do the same. January, February, March are always very strong time periods for the chemical industry, and so make sure you talk to your salesperson and you get your orders placed, and I would honestly think that you probably want to have some strength in your orders. I think inventories generally on chemical products and finished goods are low. There obviously is still retail demand, but there's still a growing population worldwide. There's still growing demand in the U.S. Now's the time to order. And then I just recall, Cory, last year, the rail lines, remember they set them on fire? The extreme conditions that were in the Midwest last year. I mean, great point, because build your inventories based on what we're already seeing. We're seeing a pipeline of very cold weather, very big storms, build your inventory now so you don't have a disaster later.
And I guess that was what the point I was trying to come to is supplies may be ample, right? I mean, you look at it on a 30,000 foot level.
Sure.
And as a buyer, you think, okay, I'm secure, I'm safe. But if it's in the Gulf and rail lines are frozen,
No,
make
the
sure.
Ohio River's frozen.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean,
Barges coming up, and we've seen that happen. So it's just one thing to just maybe consider.
Right.
Just because they're ample doesn't mean they're ample
strongly
where you're
consider.
at.
I mean, build those inventories.
Sure.
Align your relationships now because you're going to pay for it if you don't.
Right.
And even stuff in theory that should be easy, pulling a bulk load of plasticizer out of a short tank. I mean, even that, it snows, there's bad weather. I mean, that, plan for a couple extra days of, allow for a
drivers.
couple extra days.
Well, what
to-
happens
there's
with
delays and-
plasticizer is if it's in an ISO container, let's just say, and it came over from Europe and it's been sitting in storage for 2 weeks and it's been -5, you're not getting that stuff out. It's like
Yep.
sap.
Yep.
The viscosity rises as it gets colder, so you got to steam it. So again, there's longer periods of time for your logistics services. So we have to steam that product before we deliver it to you. And so longer lead times, forecasts, give good forecasts. I think that's something that every sales manager at this table is very good at with our producing partners is giving forecasts. But sometimes we have trouble with our customers not giving us,
Yeah.
maybe they're weighing their options. They can get it a penny cheaper here. Not a good time to do that, in my opinion, So forecast well and stick to your forecast as best you can.
Yep, absolutely. Events, trade shows, conferences. It is the first week of December, so I think we are done with trade shows for this year, officially.
No mas.
No mas.
Yes.
And we'll start talking about 2020 shows in January. But two big ones coming up that we'll kind of put a little save the date out for. We will be at the AFPM late March in New Orleans. So it is a
New Orleans.
location change from last year.
It's going to be a cool AFPM, I think.
I think so
excited
too.
For it.
It'll
Yeah.
be interesting.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to pitch the golf outing that we're doing, or is that confidential?
No,
I guess
please.
I've blown it.
Please. Not anymore.
Too late.
Too late.
Rumor has it.
Feel free to enlighten us. on
Well, no,
the,
I don't know all the details. We've got you and Steve that spearhead it, but it's something we've done for the last 3 or 4 years at AFPM on the Saturday before everything kicks off, and it's a great
Yep.
event. We usually have a good, 6, 7 groups of foursomes that go out and have a good time. Do lunch afterwards, but it's always a lot of fun. And I guess with it going to New Orleans this year, we've got a new venue, but
Yep.
maybe you can talk to that, or I don't know if you need to.
Yeah, it's a new venue for the AFPM, but similar date setup. So it's Sunday-ish to Tuesday-ish. So as we did last year, that Saturday we'll do a golf outing in the morning, and then do a buffet lunch type of thing, kind of a high-end lunch right at the clubhouse.
Open
there.
cocktail party.
Yep.
Instead of having
Yep.
the Briscoe Art Museum
Right.
cocktail party that on Sunday night that we normally have, we're gonna tie into the golfing in the afternoon, have a nice open cocktail
Oh, good.
party on Saturday afternoon prior to really
Yep.
when things kick off.
Yep, so we're working with the Kettle Bottom guys back here on our graphic and video and all that stuff. Should be going out next week, or depending when this episode comes out, may already be out. But yeah, we'll definitely have more info to come, next couple episodes. And
I think there's
keep
room
an eye
for
on the view.
48 golfers this year, so there's room for other golfers, and we want our friends from other companies, friends of TCC,
Yep.
to please join us. And the cocktail party is certainly open and not far from downtown. You could Uber there, so we'll send out the details
Yep,
on that.
sure.
And Cory plays, so you clearly don't need to be a good golfer
No,
to join.
you don't. you do not. You do not.
And then almost back to the AFPM, which is going to be interesting, is the American Coding Show,
Yeah.
which is every 2 years. So this is the coding show year in Indianapolis. So we will have our booth there and a team there as well. So maybe you're doing either or. Maybe you're coming from AFPM to the coding show, but we'll be at both.
It'll be a busy week for some of us.
Yeah, I think what we
Yeah.
mainly decided is we're going to divide and conquer. I think some people that are at AFPM might have some overlap of meetings at the coding show, might go there, but we're going to do 2 different teams because it's too much to, you have to show up to the coding show ahead of time to get the booth up and
Right.
make sure everything looks right. And that's, right in the center of the time that we'll be really deep into our discussions at AFPM. So we're going to have 2 separate teams, and a few people will fly up to Indianapolis for the coding show if they have to, but I think it's prudent for us to separate this and try and give our best go of each of them because they're both very important events for
Yep.
us.
Is that still in Indianapolis? Is that
Yes.
where it is? Okay.
Yep. And so same as AFPM, we'll have, it's going to start going out in emails and things like that to start setting up meetings, both for the AFPM and the coding show. Feel free to reach out to your TCC sales contact, or we do have events at thechemco.com as an email address. So feel free to send a note either way to get more info on that and start setting meetings up for that. It's coming up soon.
Absolutely.
Wrapping things up, any final notes before we call it quits here?
Howdy.
Covered a lot.
We did cover a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
See
we
you
got
next year, I guess.
Yeah.
See you next
Yeah.
year.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas.
Happy
Yeah.
holidays.
Happy New Year. And, thanks to all of our customers out there and our friends in the industry and our producing partners for their support in 2019. And we all look forward to working with you in 2020.
Yeah, we appreciate you listening. We do have 2 episodes coming up. So we just recently recorded an episode with Perstorp, one of our producing partners, on an exciting new product that we're excited to be partnering with them and bringing to market. So that should be coming out later this week or early next week. We'll have that video and audio. And then we're also doing an episode with the president of Nuco Logistics, which will be a good one as well, kind of a newer topic for us, which should be interesting as Rob was talking about with the logistic trends between the winter and just kind of how things are in the marketplace today and into the 2020. Should be 2 interesting episodes coming up in the next 2 weeks.
Definitely. Expanding your podcast, Ben.
Yeah.
Doing quite a few of them.
Yeah, trying to.
What is it? What number is this?
This is 35.
35.
Wow. Okay. Impressive.
We were just talking yesterday. The Perstorp, we did the episode with Jan Secker, the CEO of Perstorp, was our second ever episode.
Is that right?
Yeah, we had
Wow.
the conference room table in here, and George was at one end, we were at the other end.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see kind of where it's come now.
That was a great podcast too. Really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to that one, you scroll all the way back down. It's our second episode. It was a great episode with both Jan and then our CEO Nick Roach.
Yep. That was the great juxtaposition between the 2 of them. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, it's very interesting to, that was a good, year and a half ago. So kind of hearing what they were talking about now with their goals and initiatives, and then listening today and kind of hearing what they've been doing and where they're
Yeah,
at. It's cool to go back and
Really
see.
interesting.
And now look, we've got the news desk here. When do we do the weather? Do I get to do the weather? Put the green screen up. I love it. This is nice. Really grown. You've done a great job.
We gotta get a green hoodie for you, and we can put graphics across your chest and current methanol pricing.
Right. Yeah.
Well, as always, we appreciate you listening. The episodes are available wherever you stream your podcasts. We'll have the video version live on YouTube and our social media channels, courtesy of the Kettle Bottom Creative guys. Appreciate the 5 of you, or 4 of you and myself, sitting down this morning. It was a good episode, I think good conversation.
Great
Look forward to
conversation,
seeing you
yeah.
next year.
All right.
See you next year. Merry
Thank you.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks.